Come on up through that inhale. Let's walk our hands back towards the body. And we're gonna take that sweep up toward the ceiling. Letting those arms drift out. Let's turn palms up and soften the elbows, shrug the shoulders a little, tuck the chin forward, and then reach back a little bit behind the body. We're gonna release those fingertips down toward the mat. Let's tuck the hands next to the hips, palms facing backwards, bowing the chin. And then let's take a tilt to one side. Just reach that ear over. We're going to bow forward and tilt in the other direction. One more time to both sides. And to the last side in this round. Releasing the chin forward, let's trace the fingertips around the body and then slowly stack cervical spine. We're going to talk a little bit more about cervical spine today. If you happen to be sitting cross-legged, let's change the cross of the legs. So your cervical spine is the spinal column from the base of the neck up to the base of the skull. Nice big inhale up. Let's take it. We're going to take a little cactus squeeze back. And now let's tilt into that C curve. Reach back with the hips, reach forward with the hands, tuck the chin, and really stretch in the hips and low back. Inhaling up, take a nice big stretch. So back to cervical spine. You will see everywhere in all manner of yoga poses where someone is reaching and they're going to cue looking up to increase the length of that spine. And that is not physically correct. Squeezing out. Let's come on up through our inhale. We're going to take our forward fold. Trace the fingertips down, tucking the chin. Rock side to side a little. Let's move through those hips and the obliques. Resting the body weight on the elbows, tuck the chin, relax the feet, unclench the teeth. So cervical spine, if we want to keep that spine in line with the rest of our spine, the thoracic spine and the lumbar spine, we want to keep our chin tucked a little bit. You're going to hear me cue that frequently, and you hear me cue that in all of my other classes. With the next inhale, let's lengthen up through those arms and walking the hands back. Nice, lovely, slow stretch up to the ceiling. Sweeping those arms out, palms up, little shrug of the shoulders, soft in the elbows, little tuck of the chin. And I will, right? I just cued it again, actually. That wasn't, that was just automatic. Because if we're looking up, let's release those hands down to the hips, turning palms back and deeply bow the chin forward now. And then take a tilt of one ear over to one side. If we're tilting up, there are multiple things going on that are contraindicative of any kind of stretching, and they're not really good for your cervical spine, right? We want our neck to be protected. Its only purpose is to hold our head up. Let's tilt the other side. Your neck should not bear weight. That's not healthy for it. That's compression. And when we look up into the sky, we compress the phalanges, the vertebral phalanges. That was a mouthful first thing in the morning. Bowing the chin forward. And let's trace those fingertips around the front of the body and slowly stack that spine. So you'll notice if you've been doing yoga with me for any length of time, or even just today, when we do head circles, it's not really a head circle, it's a head semicircle. We bow the chin forward and we trace either sometimes we'll trace the line of the collarbone by turning the chin in one direction. And most often though, we tilt the ear in one direction and then bow forward and tilt the ear in the other direction, because the strap muscles do a lot of work. Your head is very heavy, your skull, so many jokes. Your brain and skull weigh a good amount of poundage. I'm going to come to my hands and knees on this blanket. And they do a lot of work. They do a lot of weight bearing. And of course, right, because we have this wide range of motion, tilting down, looking up, it's really to keep ourselves safe from predators, in our early Homo sapien life. But let's take two fists, place them on the blankets. We're going to rest our knees around both sides. We're going to move the heels of the hands out in front of our body so that we can soften the elbows and stay off the wrists. So this is not a 90-degree placement, but we want to keep our hips 90 degrees over our knees. Let's take a nice power inhale here. And then release the chin forward. Place the elbows to the mat, reach those hips back. Take this stretch. Wiggle the fingers, roll the wrists, make some fists. So compression in the cervical spine is a bad thing. Nice big inhale forward. Let's take two more of those. Releasing the chin, placing elbows to mat, sweeping the hips back. Wiggling the fingers, rolling the wrists, make some fists. Inhaling, we're going to do that one more time. Let's come on up. We're going to take our oxen lean, push out into a hip, look over the opposite shoulder. So my background in Vinyasa Yoga, let's inhale and switch sides, means that I'm all about protecting the joints and the spine while we work. And I'm sure you guys have heard me. I love to say we want to put our weight in the muscular structure rather than resting on the joints. And part of protecting your spine is making sure that we're not doing any crunching in that cervical structure. And let's switch one more time. And then last round. We're going to come through our inhale and take an angry cat tuck. So release the chin, tuck the tailbone, arch the back toward the ceiling. I'm still soft in the elbows, but I'm going to take a little lean back into my heels, little rock side to side. We're going to inhale and look right between those fingers. Let's tuck the toes and press up. Let's step our feet into the balance of the balls of the feet. Soften the knees. Let's take a big power stretch for the calf muscle. Soften the elbows, shrug the shoulders down away from the ears. And let's switch positions. One more time in both directions for me. Big calf stretch, runner stretch. And one more time. I'm going to glance forward and walk myself all the way up to the end of the mat. I'm about 10 inches away. I've got a little wider than a fist width between my feet. I'm going to take my block, but if you don't have a block, resting your hands on above your knees on your thighs or below the knees on your shins is perfectly fine. We want to soften those knees and take a little forward fold. Let's bend the knees, lift the head and shoulders. Give me a power scrunch up, reverse crunch through the power of the core. Nice big reach up. Let's take a little cactus arm back. Wiggle the fingers, roll the wrists. Nice big inhale. And we're going to take a little lateral extension here. So when we talk about protecting the spine, it's really important to protect the cervical spine. It's most prone to injury. It is the most delicate portion of the spine, although the spine is pretty delicate. Nice big inhale up. We're going to take 3. Sorry, there was a bug right in front of me. Can't have that. We're going to take 3 big forward folding chairs. So let's inhale up, release over. Lift the head and shoulders. Give me that reverse crunch up. Nice big stretch. 2 more, just like that. Exhale. Come on down, sit back into those heels. Let the body hang. Lift the head and shoulders, scoop the body up. One more time. Warming up the core, warming up our legs. Scoop up and lift, stretch. All right, nice big reach. Big open arm circle here. Okay, so today we're working on crescent lunge, and we're gonna work it into a little flow. I'm gonna move my block because, of course, crescent lunge is stepping forward, stepping back. And the reason we're talking about cervical spine is because you invariably will see crescent lunge. I'm going to show you. It's going to hurt me. I'm not going to do it like to the full extent because it's not even good for your body. But you're going to see crescent lunge really overextended, so really long in stride. You're going to see people rock all the way back, and then you're crunching the lumbar structure. You're crunching in the lower thoracic. You're out of your core. You're not holding your body weight up. You're hanging on your spine. And then you're going to see them squeeze those arms all the way up to the ears to make this nice, lovely, long hand placement. And then you're going to see them looking up to the ceiling. Okay, we're going to release this out. I'm going to come on up. Ooh, but you can see how hard it's going to be for me to come on out of that safely because it's not stable. Now, if you know me, I'm all about stability on the mat. Stability and spinal protection, joint protection. So, that was a strong pose without a lot of warm-up. The reason we're talking about cervical spine, why are we talking about cervical spine, Julia? The reason we're talking about cervical spine is because you're going to see 2 of the poses we do today are going to be all about this. If you look at them, I actually just saw it on a magazine cover. And it just makes me grind my teeth. So if you're doing this to your cervical spine, what's happening is, let's say my fingers are my vertebral phalanges, right? How am I going to do this? There we go. Say this is my cervical spine. I'm going to turn it sideways. What I'm trying to do and what Vinyasa, the principles of Vinyasa are all about is creating as much power through the muscles, the muscular structure, and your posture so that we can keep the space as long and as open as possible between the vertebra. Because, right, compression is bad. If you've ever injured your back, or some of you might have bulging discs, those discs are those jelly donuts that sit in between the vertebra to cushion the bone. Any of you have bone on bone, you know that that's not a fun process. So when we're working the cervical spine has a tendency already to rock into the phalange, the vertebral phalange, which is where my fingers are. If they're doing that, there's 2 things that are happening. They are pressing more deeply with more pressure on the back of our discs. I just lost that word. And they are closing the distance between these vertebral phalange, which would create some wear and tear. So your cervical spine is the most flexible portion of your spine. We rotate around it. It has a little bit give to go right to left, right? It can look up. It can rock all the way forward. What we were trying to do when we balance this forward fold, well, wait a minute, Julia, aren't we pressing more deeply into the discs on the forward side of our vertebra? The thing is, it's just, you're actually rotating around that disc. And we're trying to open up the space behind the vertebral phalange so that we're not getting any crunching. We're keeping space open. The other thing is we're stretching these strap muscles up the back of the neck, which are traditionally very tight. And when we have stress, you guys know, I mean, there's nothing, for me, nothing better and having someone rest their forearms on my shoulders and giving me a nice, lovely stretch through the back of my neck. When those muscles are tight, right, we're fighting against this draw. I mean, the muscles are just naturally drawing things closer together. So there's no point. I mean, it doesn't do you any good, right? If we want to keep our cervical spine healthy, we want to keep it in alignment. So we want to keep this space, just like when I say, you know, don't over hyperflex your wrists. Let's keep, I want to keep my structural, skeletal structure in alignment, because that gives my bones, not my bones, my muscles a chance to wrap up and support the structure the way it was designed, it evolved into, right? So we're going to work our crescent lunge, and crescent lunge is core and low body. There's just, that's the bulk of the work is going to happen there. But I wanted to talk about cervical spine because it's Anya Asana, and you're going to see it like this all the time. You're going to see warrior one like this all the time. And that's just not healthy for your cervical spine. So my cue in any of those postures where, you know, I know that people have a tendency to see it in TV, on your Instagram, in the magazines at the grocery counter line, this extent, you know, this look up like it's majestic. And what it's doing is crunching your cervical spine. So I will cue a little tilt of the chin, just so because I want to keep my cervical spine in alignment with the rest of my spine. I'm going to shrug these shoulders back a little to also engage, to keep me from pivoting at this at the base of my neck, right? Because and women, that's important for both men and women as we get older, because you'll see seniors like this. You'll see them like this, and that is from. And you'll see this big hump of muscle. It's called a dowager's hump. And it's basically a muscle mass that is trying to get me bigger and stronger because it's holding the weight of your head up. It's counterbalancing the weight of your head in this slouch, right? Again, we don't shrink as we get older, we slouch. So I want you to lift up under the ribs. Everybody join me now. So find your balance between your feet. Soften the knees. Balance through those hips, scoop the belly up and in, lift the sternum and engage the rib cage. Oh, I'm already working. Rotate these shoulders slightly open, and then make sure that the back of your head, just feel like instead of reaching forward with the chin, that's another tendency to feel like you're getting long in your spine. I want you to press the head back and feel the base of your skull stack right on top of your spine. You're doing a lot of work here. And if you're tight in the shoulders, if you've already been long and strong in these muscles, you're going to feel that in that space between your shoulder blades, because we're working against the bulk of those muscles. Something I've just always struggled against, because both my mother and my grandmother had this doubt, you know, just, it's when you have a lot of upper body musculature, right? I'm not my husband, I'm a sturdy woman. You got to fight stuff like that. All right. So we're going to come to the front of the mat. The other thing I want to talk about in lunge, is feet placement. So you guys already know I'm totally dead set against this configuration of legs. And the reason I'm against this configuration of legs, we've already talked about it, is because you're not stable side to side. And when you're trying to balance, right, you want to be all about stability. So for lunge, we're going to be stepping back and forward into lunge. We're not going to be working it from a forward fold, which is how I usually approach it. I want you to really be conscientious about the stability of your feet. Give me that alignment with the ischial spines, the ischial exuberance on the front of your hip bone. Line that up with your femur to the knee to the middle toe. Okay, soft in the knees, right? So when I'm going to move forward a little bit because I want to show you how we're going to step. So in fact, just step with me because you'll probably have your mat aligned to look at me. So hands on my hips, roll on my shoulders back. Find that balance, engage this low belly. Remember, crescent lunge is all about low belly and hips, glutes, and quads. Okay, I'm going to just step straight back. So you're gonna feel tempted to step back and in, to line these feet up like you were on a balance beam. And you can see I can't even stand that way because it's not stable, okay? There's a reason it's a challenge in, in competitive gymnastics, because it's hard to do. So let's find our placement of feet. And we're just gonna practice on both sides because I want you to feel conscientiously, right? I want you to be attentive to where your feet are going and how your body's moving. We're gonna just think about painting that foot along the mat straight back. So if you just dragged your foot straight back and stepped into the ball of your foot, that's the movement. So let's step straight forward and be in position. We're gonna do that again. Let's do it on the left. I'm gonna step straight back, painting this foot along that mat, and I'm gonna come straight forward, okay? Let's do it again on the right side. I'm gonna just draw that back and just go into a comfortable, right into the ball of my foot. And back, one more time, straight back. You can see I have lateral space between my feet side to side. And so I'm very stable here. I'm balanced on my hips the way my skeletal structure is designed. I'm engaged in my core. I can lift my chest up and open my shoulders, right? And be engaged in my core. You can feel that. The minute you get engaged in your core, you feel this quad fire up, right? Okay, let's come forward, and release. So we're gonna go, I'm gonna turn to the side because the other part of crescent lunge is knee placement and low back placement, obviously. So be mindful where we're gonna step with our feet, and then we're gonna talk about knees, feet, and body, all right? So let's come forward. We're gonna work through our little warm-up, our little beginning stretching, standing warm-up. Let's come on up through our stretch. Nice big inhale. Let's take a little lateral extension. Tilt it over, give me a reach. I'm already feeling that work, that core work, just by using that balance, just by practicing those steps. Let's do it to the other side. Coming on up to come down, forward folding chair, release down. Let's take a hang here. Just let that low back release because we're gonna be doing some muscular work there. Lift the head and shoulders, give me reverse crunch up. Let's do that 2 more times. Coming on up to come down. Lift head and shoulders, scoop the belly up and in. And one more time, release. Lift the head and shoulders, scoop on up. All right, we're gonna take hands to hips. And I'm gonna step back with my right foot. So wiggle the toes of your right foot. And we're just gonna paint that foot back, keep your lateral space. In fact, I am so conscientious, or I'm just paying so much attention to where my foot's going, that in my head, I kind of just say back and out. So I'm gonna step back, and to prevent that little drift in towards my opposite foot, I step out to widen my stance even more, just as a counteraction. Now, notice I'm not really long in my stance. The reason I'm not asking you to take the longest crescent lunge is because I want you to get the position of your feet first and the knees, and then you can lengthen it up if you want. So crescent lunge, I'm on the ball of my back foot. I have my foot in parallel to the side of the mat. So my toes and my ankle are in alignment, face towards the direction my toes are pointing. I'm going to turn this way so that you can see that, because a tendency we all have, I'm going to keep it on the mat so that you can see my foot. Sometimes you're going to feel, or sometimes people have a tendency to turn their heel in or to press their heel out into their ankle. And you're not using the structure of the muscles there. You're resting on joints and you're going to hurt yourself. So I want you to rotate that foot so that it feels like your toes are pointing straight towards the end of the mat. Your heel is going to be in alignment with your toes. And so your ankle, you're going to be square on the center of your ankle. And you can see that that's where I'm at. Okay. And then I want you to take that. I want a little bend in the back knee. So give me that squish. And it's very important that your front knees stay behind your toes. So you'll see that right now I'm very shallow in the stance because we're working it. My knee is in alignment with my heel. So I like that. I just aim my knee. I like to say, press your knee into that heel. That's the cue. And that means that if I look down, I can see the entire length of my foot out past my knee. Now, I want you to play around with the angle of that front knee. Let's come in and rest for a minute because that's a lot. The next thing I want you to think about, and we're going to do this on the other side, is, so there's so many elements to this, right? Yoga is a mental game, remember, the long con. I'm going to be here in my lunge, right? This is a shallow lunge. My heel is reaching back toward the mat, but my knee is soft, okay? I'm stacked right over my front heel. The other thing I want you to think about is the angle of your knee. So I'm not going to tell you to rotate out or in because some of you are sliding in here and you're pressing into the inside ligaments of the knee. Some of you are swaying way out, which means you're digging into the mat with your toes and you're kind of rotated off of your foot. I want you to kind of play around with this rotation. Ooh, something just popped in there. Play around with this rotation and find the position side to side where you can feel completely wrapped up. Quad, hammy to calf, because those are the muscles that protect the knee joint. They help support that body weight on that moving joint. Okay, so let's step into it. If you were resting, ooh, I'm feeling my calf on the right side. All right, let's do that again. Let's go to the left side. We'll balance out this work, and then we'll go back to the right side, and I want you to play around with the knee on that side. But we're going to do all three things on the left. So let's come up. We're going to start with our stretch. Nice big reach up. Soften the knees, lateral extension. Keep those hips stacked right over the ankles. Inhaling up. Oh, allergies. Killing me today. Let's come up and take 3 forward folding chairs. So release on down. Let the body hang. Lift the chest and head. Scoop and give me that reverse crunch. We're going to do that 2 more times. Notice we're working a little bit deeper through that lift so that we can engage our core. I want you to feel it. Lift the head and shoulders. Scoop the belly. Inhale up 1 more time. Let's go. And lift. Reverse. And come up. All right. I'm going to bring my arms down. Sorry, I just had to do it. Sexy part of yoga. It's hard to talk when your nose is all stuffed up. All right, I'm going to, so I want soft in the knees. Let's lift up through the chest, engage the core, hands on the hips. Just helps me, hands on hips, helps me remember to tilt those shoulders back and lift through the core of my belly. All right, I'm just gonna paint my left foot back. I'm gonna go out a little bit, just until I'm solid on the ball of my foot. It's a little shallower than I would normally take, but we wanna work this a little bit. So that front knee, again, look down, woo! That front knee is stacked behind the heel. I'm lifted up through my chest. Notice I'm a little forward rather than straight up and down. I want to be out of my low back. I want you to feel this thoracic spine to the lumbar lengthen and be forward rather than swinging back into the back. We'll do that in a minute. But let's get the leg position first. I have a little squish in my extended knee, but my heel is reaching back toward the mat. And then my toe, my heel, my ankle are all in alignment to the front or where my toes are pointing. You feeling that? Okay, let's take a little slide to side with the knee. I want you to feel where that position is where you're getting the engagement right down the center of that kneecap. You're feeling like those muscles are wrapped up around the knee. And let's step forward. Woo! All right. That's a lot of work, right? You're feeling it. I'm feeling it from my waist down to my calves. That's a big low body work. We're going to add the upper body element next, and then we're going to cool down and stretch. You can hear I'm a little out of breath because that's a lot of energy. Yoga is some work. Woo! All right. Cold coffee. I don't know, maybe I might have to make an iced coffee. Okay, we're gonna add the upper body element next. And then we're gonna work two sides, flow, flow, front, back, release, and flow. And then we're gonna come down to the mat to stretch and cool down. All right, so I've got my position. We're gonna take our round up. Let's go up and stretch, lateral extension. Take it on over, keep those hips stacked right on top of the heels. Inhaling up, give me squish and switch. Coming on up, we're gonna come down, forward folding chair, release through. Let the body hang. Let's trace up the legs, let's take that stretch. Let's do that 2 more times. Right down through center. Lift the head and shoulders, scoop up. And right through center. Let's do that 1 more time. Feeling your low back? I am. Trace on up, lengthen, stretch. Let's take hands to the hips. All right, we're gonna go right side, back. I'm gonna wiggle those toes. I'm gonna slide that foot back and out. I'm right in the balls of my feet, right in that ball. My knee is behind my heel. Got a little squish in that leg. All right, now we're gonna talk about the back, and I'm gonna tuck this shirt up so that you can see my low back. Oh, screw this. All right, here we go. Extra belly, I'm a sturdy woman. Ooh. Let's talk about the back. So the next element that you see in this crescent lunge is this arch back into the heel. So I want you all to join me, just because misery loves company. You're feeling the strength and power of this position right here. My legs, the energy in both my legs is radiating downward into the mat. You can hear it, I'm having a hard time talking. I'm engaged in the core, right? And I want you to put your hands on your hips now and rock yourself back, 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 and then I can feel it right here. I just lost the power of my core. I'm in my hip flexor, so I'm stretching, not holding my weight up. And I'm collapsing into this low back. Okay, I can feel it. I can feel this twinge right now through the QLs down into my glute means. So I want you to think about that position. Now, lengthen, 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 lengthen the body forward. In fact, I want you to think about extending that rib cage over the front of the knee. Now feel where the work is. You can hear it in my voice. I just had to wrap up in my core to hold my body weight forward. Let's move the hands to the shoulders. Woo, just added an extra element. Open up that chest. Do you see that what I did there? And I'm not slouching forward. I'm going to engage back. And now I want you to think about tilting. Let's just everybody touch your sternum. I want you to think about reaching the sternum up to the ceiling, tucking that chin. All right, you just activated low belly, belly button, transverse abdominis, and I'm breathing against my diaphragm. And now I'm energized from the shoulder to my ankles. All right, let's step forward. Get out of that. Take a little stretch side to side. Are you feeling that? Yeah. Bad thing about not being in person is I can't hear you moaning and groaning with me, but that's okay. I know that it's happening because my brain is moaning and groaning inside. Okay. Whew. We're going to do that on the other side. Little rock side to side. Nice big inhale up. Lateral extension, take it over. Inhaling up, soften the knees. Lateral extension. Inhaling up, let's take one deep forward folding chair. Let it go. Oh, yeah. Feeling good. Let's engage on up. Nice big stretch to the ceiling. Hands to the hips. Okay, we're going on that left side. So I'm going to wiggle these toes. We're going to paint that foot back and out. So I'm shallow here, soften the knees. I'm going to bring my knee back behind my heel. Just lost my ear. And I'm soft in that knee. the back heel is reaching back towards the mat. Okay, you can see I'm a little forward. That's all right. I want you to find that space in the knee. Give me a little swish around and around. Now let's touch the shoulders. Open up the chest. You see what happened? I just engaged right up the center of my core. I'm going to reach a little bit longer away from my heel. I want to stretch. Look at the line of my body. Cervical spine, thoracic spine, lumbar, heel. Nice long line there. Now touch your sternum. Let's do it on this side. Touch the sternum. Give it a little lift. Tuck the chin. Now I'm engaged from my hips up to my underarm of my core. I am pressed out and I'm energetic, but my front knee is behind my heel. Okay? And just for giggles, give me a cactus arm. Okay? Lengthen those arms up like you were holding a beach ball. Give me a little longer space right between these top ribs. Spread them out. And let's step up. Woo! And walk and roll that. All right. Roll that back. You feeling me? Feeling me. Yeah. All right. Crescent lunge. Okay. Now, I like to approach it from a forward fold because then I get a little more length out of my stride, right? Remember, directionality on the mat. Long stance, short stance, wide stance, narrow stance. Very rarely are we going to be in the narrow stance. We're almost always going to be in neutral position, all right? That's just, you know, good to orient yourself to the compass. Moral compass, directional compass. Okay, we're going to head to the mat. We're going to sit down. Woo! Ay, ay, ay. Take a little rock side to side. I'm going to grab a quick drink. Of water, not cold coffee. And I am going to be using my strap today, but I'm going to cue with no strap. So I'm going to put my shirt back on so I'm not sticking to the mat. That's what happens when you get a little warm. Did I mention it's going to be in the hundreds today? All right, let's rock on back. Give those knees a squeeze. Oh, yeah. Wiggle the toes. Now, are your feet fatigued? Because my feet are feeling fatigued. When we get ourselves into solid, stable placement on the mat, it means that we're working the muscles of the body all the way from the metatarsals up into the leg. So I'm feeling a little foot fatigue. Give those tootsies a little rock and roll, little wiggle and point. All right, two-handed around your right knee, lengthen that left leg out and take a stretch. Feeling that work. You should be feeling work, not strain, right? Because we just stabilized our entire body from the armpit to the toes. Yoga is amazing, isn't it? All right, we're going to take our heel up for a hamstring stretch. So I'm going to take the strap, but if you don't have a strap, I just want you to imagine pressing that heel up. Now notice my length. Oh, you know what? We're going to talk about this because I know that, shout out to Jennifer. We were working on Tuesday and she was out. We discovered something interesting about our legs. So, regardless, if you have a strap, go ahead and put it around the arch of the foot, but bend that knee. If you don't have a strap, we're just going to work here. I want you to take your foot straight out and press that heel. Give me that length of leg here. Okay. Now this is easier when you have a strap because you're not holding that leg up with your core. Right now I'm holding it up with my core. And see that extension? Feel that length. I'm soft in the knee. See my little squish? But my toes are dorsal flexed. Now, if you have the strap or, without, it looks like this. Now I want you to draw that leg up. If you don't have a strap, just take it in your fingers. I want you to slide your hands down that strap or work your way. Maybe take a loop because we started with the long strap. Now take that hamstring stretch. That's a better way to approach it, I think, because you're definitely 100% in your hamstring right now. I'm feeling this right here. Right? I keep saying right, like you guys can respond to me, but you can't. Let's reach up with that arm, shorten up on both ends of that strap, and take that leg all the way out. Now feeling those adductors? Woo! We weren't even feeling our adductors in crescent lunge. At least I wasn't, but now I know that they were working. Breathe. Oh yeah, that's a good stretch. Let's come on up. Bring that knee in, give it a little wiggle, rock and roll that foot. All right, we're gonna take the left knee up, give him a little squeeze. 2 hands around the other knee, lengthen that leg out, nice long stretch. So it's really good to be working those muscles all the way down into the structures of the foot, because if we strengthen our feet, we can lengthen those muscles and keep them working well. Your feet are very, very important. We're just about ready to record the Who Let the Dogs Out chapter in the yoga book. We're going to work on that tomorrow. And it's all about feet, and you're going to discover all the wonderful ways your feet serve us and why we should be treating them like the queens they are. All right, same thing on this side. If you're going to use the strap, get it around the ball of the arch of the foot, keeping this knee bent. I'm going to work this one without the strap for those of you who don't have one. Lengthen that foot out the length of the mat first. Give me that length of leg. I've got a little squish in the knee. My toes are dorsal flexed, right? They're flexed up towards my shin. And now I'm going to lift my foot. I'm going to use my hands to help support it. And now I'm like solid. Like that is 100% hamstring right there. Breathe, wiggle the toes on the other foot. Yeah. Because I want to keep this foot dorsal flexed. I want to keep those toes engaged so that I'm actually using my hamstring. All right, if you don't have a strap, we're going to go to that outside stretch, the adductor stretch. You're just going to take your hand and rest it somewhere on your thigh. Drop that elbow to the mat and let that leg rest on your hands. If you have a strap, I'm going to do this one with the strap just so I can get a little bit deeper into my adductor. Reach up both ends of that strap, shorten it up so the length of the arm, and now take that leg out and let it hang. But keep that soft bend in the knee. Keep that dorsal flexion of the toes. If you're letting that go, you're cheating me out of a deep adductor stretch. All right, let's draw that leg up, bring it in, give a little squeeze. Okay, give me another knee up. Let's take a little rock side to side. I want you to take a scan of the body. Where would you like a little extra stretch? What's your favorite thing that maybe we haven't done? Where are you feeling a little call out from the body for a little extra stretch? I'm feeling it right through my calf muscle right here. We did all that lunging. It's a lot of power work, lunges. And especially when you're doing them well and protecting your knees. It's a lot of muscle work. Let's just take a minute to get yourself comfortable. Give yourself that stretch. Maybe grab another drink. And then you're going to decide where you want to take final relaxation. I'm going to stay right here with my feet on the floor and my knees pointed toward the ceiling. Take a little sway side to side. I'm going to unclench my teeth and let my knees tent in a little. Take your attention into that nice relaxed breath. Let's just find that soft, easy inhale, soft, silent exhale. Let's travel into the space along the line of the forehead and feel all those tiny little muscles smooth out. Feel the face soften, unclench the teeth, relax the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. Relax the neck, feel those strap muscles release their energy. Little relaxation through the tops of the shoulders, down through the biceps and triceps. Relax through the space of the elbow into the forearms, a little wiggle of the fingers, and then let the upper body relax against the mat. Let's transfer that attention down through the shoulder blades. Maybe a little tuck of the chin to keep that cervical spine long. Let's travel through the length of the spine, down through the space between the hips, maybe a little rock side to side. And now relax energy out of the torso. Let's feel the energy. We just really pumped up those quads and the hamstrings. Let's just release that energy and feel soft behind the knees. Maybe a little flexion of the calf or a little rock and roll. Wiggle the toes. And now really let the lower body just relax against the floor. Let's pull our attention into the space and quality of our thinking. We want to hold that silence off to the side. So we want to hold our silence, those little things that are starting to draw our attention, we want to hold off to the side. And now let's just anchor that silence into the breath, following that into and out of the lungs. Let's draw some deeper breaths. Just pull in a big sighing inhale and let that go. Let's do that a couple more times. Wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, roll wrists, roll ankles. Stretch those arms out into the T. Big reach. Sweep them up over the head. Big stretch. Oh. We're going to bring a knee up, give it a squeeze. Roll that ankle, point and flex the feet. We're going to bring the other knee up, giving it a squeeze. Roll that ankle, point and flex the feet. Let's take a little rock side to side. Just giving that back glute needs a little extra movement. When you're ready, let's rock completely over to one side. We're going to rest the head on the arm. Just take a breath right here. Inhale and exhale. I'm going to lengthen my top leg. And now walk your hands up underneath your torso to come back to comfortable seated position. Little rock side to side. And then let's find what's comfortable for you. So maybe sitting the way you were in the beginning of practice is not going to work for you, but that's okay. Find that position. Ooh, I'm feeling my hips and my glutes. We worked some lower body today. So let's take a scan of the body. Taking a moment to notice, where are you feeling response from the practice? I'm feeling it right here. Without any ownership or judgment, we just want to notice what response we're getting. Let's take that moment to move our attention and awareness into the state and quality of our thinking. And now let's start to move our to-do list back into our attention. What have you got going that needs work right away? What might be able to take a later position in the queue, so longer, move them to the end of the line. And then finally, just let's pay attention to the breaths. Just taking a moment to notice that soft, easy inhale, soft, silent exhale. It's what carries us through our day. And unless we are paying attention, we don't really notice it till it's hindered in some way. Releasing practice, I'm going to blink my eyes open. I love this long stretch up to the ceiling. You do not have to join me if that's not going to feel good for you today. Nice, lovely reach up. And then I'm letting all of that go, taking a moment to honor your body for doing what you asked it to do today and all the hard work it does to get you from one end of the week to the other. Guys, thank you so much for supporting the Fucking Yoga Company online. I so appreciate it. Keeping you safe, keeping me safe, keeping us all in our groove. Thank you so much. If you need to email me, it's julia@jclynn.com. If you want to get a hold of me through the website, it's yogablog.com. I will be posting, I'm going to find a way to attach schedule purchases to my calendar for drop-ins. And keep an eye out because we're going to be launching Patreon pretty soon. And that's going to be offer some different things to different levels of clients. Thank you so much. My name is Julia. Please stay cool today. And outside of that, enjoy. Have a good day.